Namaskaraha and welcome to our next session on yogic life. So before we read the Karapatra, I wanted to talk a little bit about how does a human being become Paramapurusha. Right, this is a million-dollar question. How does a human being become Paramapurusha? In that context, I want to quote one sloka from the Upanishad. Suksmati suksmam kalilasya madhye vishwasya srashtaram anekarupam vishwasyaikam pariveshtitaram nyatva devam muchyate sarvapashaihi. Suksmati suksmam kalilasya madhye vishwasya srashtaram anekarupam vishwasya ekam pariveshtitaram nyatva devam muchyate sarva pashaihi. So this Paramapurusha, this creator of this universe, he does his leela in many ways, right? He does his leela in many ways, ways that we cannot even imagine, right? And all the media is sukshma or ati sukshma. So Paramapurusha, we cannot see Paramapurusha with our indriyas, right? So Paramapurusha is sukshmati sukshmam, right? What is sukshmam? Sukshma means something which doesn't have tanmatras, which doesn't have these gunas, there's rupa rasa gandha sparsha, rasa, rupa rasa gandha sparsha. What is the other one? Rupa rasa gandha sparsha, shabdaha. It doesn't have all these, any of these tanmatras. Such an entity is called as a sukshma entity. So sukshma entity cannot be perceived with our sense organs. It cannot be perceived through our sense organs. That is what is a sukshma entity. What is ati sukshma? Ati sukshma means something which cannot even be conceived in our mind, right? Something which we cannot even imagine. So Paramapurusha, he manifests in this universe, he expresses himself in this universe in so many ways, which are in so many media, which are sukshma or ati sukshma. Some of them we cannot even perceive with our senses, and some of them we cannot even imagine, right? So in this kalilasya madhye, that is, in this world, there are so many names and forms and so many structures, right? There are so many structures. Some structures are visible and some structures are invisible. Some structures we cannot even conceive with our mind, right? His leela is just very unfathomable, right? We cannot even imagine what his leela is. He is the srashta of this vishwa. He is the creator of this universe. Vishwasya srashta, he is srashtaram. He creates this universe. He has many forms. He has many names and forms in this universe. He expresses in so many names, so many colors, so many forms, so many bhavas, right? And some of these names and forms and bhavas are even beyond our imagination, even beyond, we cannot grasp through our sense organs, and some of them we cannot even conceive with our mind, right? So that is what that is that kind of leela that Paramapurusha does in creating this universe, right? So if somebody has a human body, we can see that body with the help of our eyes, right? So eyes are the sensory organs through which we see the human body. But in this world, in this universe, there are so many other structures which we cannot even see with our senses, right? We have this right, an entity, a physical body which is made of the panchabhutas, right? Kshiti, up, Tejas, Marut and Vyoma, Akasha, with the panchabhutas. Those entities we can actually see. Entities, the physical bodies of human beings are made of these panchabhutas, and we can actually see the human body. But there are some entities which are only made out of 4 bhutas, right? Which are made of Up, Tejas, Marut and Vyoma. There is no Kshiti Tattva, right? Like the Danavas are having only four bhutas, and devatas have only 3 bhutas. Tejas, Marut and Vyoma, they don't have up and Kshiti Tattva. Right? Because of that, these entities, their physical structure, their solid structure is not visible to the eyes. Right? But the luminous body is there. These are actually called as, they are called as Deva Yoni. Right? They are only made of these Devatas, they are called as Deva Yoni. They are only made of 3 bhutas. They don't have the up and Tejas. So, even though we have these so many different structures in this universe, but he always remains one. He remains Ekam. Right? He remains Ekam. And we also saw that before, that his advice is also one. Right? The jnana that he gives is also one, and that jnana is the, right, that we saw. It is the means it is interpreted differently by different people. Right? Damanam kuru, dayam kuru, danam kuru. It's 3 types of interpretations we saw. Devata says damanam kuru, and then Manushya says dayam kuru, and then the Danavas, they say danam kuru. Right? So that Paramapurusha is a singular entity. He is Ekam, but his Srishti is Anekam. His Srishti is many forms, in so many colors and so many varied forms and so many expressions, and some of them are luminous bodies like the Devayoni, which we cannot even conceive with our mind. Right? We cannot. What about seeing? Forget about seeing. We can't even conceive with our mind that the entity which are made of 4 bhutas, the Danavas, which we cannot see with our sense organs, the Devatas, the luminous bodies which are made of 3 bhutas, we can't even conceive with our mind. Right? So this creator, this Paramapurusha, he expresses in so many forms and so many varied sounds, in so many acoustic expressions, and some of them we can hear and some of them we cannot hear. Some of them we can see, some of them we cannot see, some of them we can touch, some of them we cannot touch. Like that, we have so many different forms which are sukshmati sukshmam in these varied names and forms, and some of them are sukshma, some of them are ati sukshma, some of them are visible. Right? And Vishwasya Srashta, the Vishwasya creator, Paramapurusha, he appears in these varied forms. Right? So some of these forms we cannot even grasp with our with our mind. Right? Some of these subtle forms we cannot grasp with our mind. There are other cruder forms. Right? The cruder forms, those cruder forms we can actually see. Right? Both these forms are within him. Right? And the universe that is within him, and also the universe which is outside him. So he's so virat. He's so virat. This world is actually, this world is considered to be very big. Right? This world is not infinite. This world is very big. It is Vishal. This world is very big, and in this world we have so many names and forms. And even beyond this world, there is something that is there in Paramapurusha which we don't know. Right? So everything comes within his scope. That the things that are there in this universe and things that are beyond the universe also comes within his scope. He is so virat that we cannot even imagine. Right? So there are within this Brahmanda, the sukshma and ati sukshma are there. The sukshma and ati sukshma things are there, which are there because of his leela, and also jada vastu is also there because of his leela. Right? So that is why this Vishwa is very big, but it is not infinite. It is not anant. This Vishwa is not anant. This world is going on because of his leela. Right? So there is leela within this world. There is leela even without the world. Without the world, outside the world also there is leela. Right? So when one knows jnatva, vishwasya pariveshtitaram jnatva, so the one who sustains this world, one who supports this world, knowing that entity, when one knows that entity, when one comes in contact with that entity, then they get liberated from all the bandhanas. Right? This prakriti creates the bandhanas in this world. Right? It creates various kinds of bandhanas in this world. And when we come in contact with that entity, how do we come in contact with that entity? That is the only way is to do sadhana. When we do sadhana and come in contact with that supreme entity, then muchyate bhava bandhanat, muchyate sarva pashaihi, then we get liberated from all of these bandhanas, right? All of these imperfections. Our life is full of imperfections because of the prakriti prabhava. Our life is full of imperfections, asampurnata. When we come in contact with that supreme entity, all those imperfections get removed. They just snap open. All those imperfections snap open. This Parama Purusha, this Mahadev, this Paramadev, this Parameshwara is there in every atom, in every anu, in every paramanu. He's there everywhere, right? So when we are bound, when let's say a human being is tied by a rope, if he's tied by a rope, then this person cannot move. Let's say that around the chest somebody is tied with a big rope, right? We can't move here and there. We are just struggling. That is how our lives are due to the influence of Prakriti, right? We are just bound. Every day we are so bound. We just feel suffocated, and we just feel like snapping open this bondage. We feel like just cutting this rope. Then how do you cut this rope? That is when you come in contact with that supreme entity, right? When you do sadhana, when you do the Bhagavat Chintanam, when you have the Brahma Bhava, then what happens is that slowly this rope that has tied us, right? Slowly our body becomes big and big and big, and just like how our body becomes big and big and big, and this rope just snaps open, right? The rope just gets cut because the body has become so big, and the rope is not able to withhold the pressure because of the strength of the body. The rope just snaps open like that. When you do sadhana, what happens is that your mind expands. It just expands and expands and expands and expands and expands and expands. When it expands, that what happens is that this bandhana of Prakriti is just completely cut. It just snaps. And what happens is that the mind completely dissolves in Paramapurusha. You get this mukti or moksha, right? When you get this mukti or moksha, you were a jiva, right? You were a jiva, and now because you've gotten rid of the bandhana sarva pashaihi muktaha. When you have gotten mukti from the sarva pasha is all the bandhanas of Prakriti. When you got the mukti from the sarva pasha, then what happens is that you become a Shiva. You were a jiva, and then you become a Shiva. Pasha baddhaha bhavet jivaha. One who is bound by the pasha, he is a jiva, right? One who is bound by the gunas of Prakriti, he is a jiva. When the gunas of Prakriti snap open, when they are destroyed, when they just get completely removed, then what happens that this jiva is nothing but a Shiva. He becomes a Shiva, and that is the way to attain Paramapurusha. That is the way to attain Paramapurusha. We need to understand that this world is varied with names and forms, and multiple expressions which are sukshma, ati sukshma, are full of imperfections, right? And we need to move from that imperfection to perfection. How do we do that? Moving from imperfection to perfection is by doing sadhana of Paramapurusha, by thinking about Paramapurusha. So for that we have to, everything at the end of the day boils down to the basic things that we have to do, right? In order to attain this goal, what should we do? What are the things we need to do? So that means we go back to the same old things that we've been talking about, right? We need to take sattvic ahara, we need to do upavasa. Actually today is Ekadashi, upavasa has to be done, so we need to do upavasa. And then we should avoid the restaurant foods, we should avoid dairy products. So, and then we should do asanas, yogasanas. So when we do all of this, vyapak soch, we should do all of this. When we do all of this, what happens is that you're setting a proper environment for the mind to progress, for the mind to move forward from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. So when we do all of these, what happens is that your mind becomes more and more and more and more sattvic, right? You need that sattvic environment to do sadhana. Without the sattvic environment, If the mind is residing in a tamasic environment, there is no way you can sit in sadhana. Your mind will be very, very chanchal, right? If your mind is rajasic, your mind will be very chanchal. If your mind is sattvic, right, by doing all of these things, you are creating a sattvic environment for the mind. The mind becomes sattvic. When the mind becomes more and more sattvic, it just gets attracted to Paramapurusha, just like iron getting attracted to a magnet. Like that, we get attracted to that Paramapurusha. When we get attracted to the Paramapurusha, we will seek that entity. So if the sattva guna is not there in the body, then what happens, right? If we say that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to eat this, I'm going to eat that, and still do sadhana and still think of Paramapurusha, what happens is that why we should not do that, right? What is the reason why we should not do that? We might have many reasons why we're not taking sattvic ahar, but the only reason why we should take sattvic ahar is that if you keep taking even little bit of tamasic ahar and little bit of rajasic ahar, it has a negative impact on the mind. When it has a negative impact on the mind, then the mind will always be in this loka. The mind will always be attracted to the laukika vastu. It will always be attracted by the names and forms. It will always be attracted by the names and forms. Where is the space for thinking about Paramapurusha? Right? Thinking about Paramapurusha and thinking about the laukika vastu will not happen simultaneously. That we should understand. If the mind, whatever thing that the mind thinks, the mind becomes like that. So if you're thinking about a laukika vastu, if you tell me that, I'm going to think about the laukika vastu and also still think about Paramapurusha, it never happens like that, right? So you have to divert your mind to Paramapurusha, and that happens only by creating a sattvic environment. That sattvic environment starts with bhojana. So the bhojana you cannot compromise little bit also, because when you compromise, the cells of the body are all made of the food that we eat. Anna jayate shariram. So when the body is made out of the food that we eat, the mind is also made out of the food that we eat, right? So if we take the tamasic ahar or rajasic ahar, what happens? The mind also becomes rajasic and tamasic. Then the mind will not be attracted to Paramapurusha. It will not be thinking about Paramapurusha. One may say that I'm doing puja and all that, but even when somebody is doing puja, you could observe that your mind is not thinking about Paramapurusha. You're just doing. You're thinking in your mind you're doing puja, but it is not really a puja. It is not a puja. It is not a puja at all, right? What is a puja? Puja is nothing but doing sadhana of Paramapurusha, is internally thinking about Paramapurusha. That is what is puja, not the puja that you throw a flower at an idol. That is not puja. What is a puja is manasika puja. Manasika puja is the most powerful, right? There are different kinds of japa that we have talked about, right? What kind of japa is the most what is the best japa? Is the japa that you do internally, right? That is the puja. That is the japa. That is the puja, right? So how can you do proper japa and proper puja of Paramapurusha? Is only when your mind is sattvic. For that, it is important to do all those things that we have talked about and not compromise on that, because when you compromise on that, what happens is that you're not creating a proper environment for your mind to progress. So that means your mind is still going to fall down. It's going to degrade, right? Even when you compromise a little bit and say, I'm going to take little bit of tamasic, little bit of rajasic, little bit only I'm doing. When somebody thinks like that, what is it is that they are not creating a proper environment for the mind to progress. So it is we know that sadhana is not an easy task, right? It needs dedication. It is not impossible, right? One thing we need to understand is that sadhana is not impossible. When we say it's a difficult task, doesn't mean it's impossible, right? So in this world, there are so many things which are difficult and which we still do, right? We still do so many things which we feel are difficult because we want to achieve those. Like that, we want to attain Paramapurusha. Sadhana may seem difficult in the beginning. In the beginning, it may seem difficult, but when one continues to do it, it just becomes easier and easier. And with the Shraddha and Bhakti for Paramapurusha, sadhana becomes more easier. You see that your mind is getting more and more concentrated, which was not possible before. Now it becomes possible. That is because of the Bhakti Bhava, right? When you have the Bhakti Bhava for Paramapurusha, that becomes possible. So when we know that sadhana is initially difficult, and if we don't create the proper environment, there is no way you can sit in sadhana. There is no way you can, be one-pointedly focused on Paramapurusha. So that is why it is important to do all those basic things that we have talked about and not compromise on them, because compromising on them means that you're degrading your mind. That means when you put on these bad fuel, then what happens is the mind takes the shape of all these laukika vastus. When it takes the shape of the laukika vastu, there is no room for Paramapurusha, which we can all experience. If you can one day sit and observe yourself, right? This whole body and this human life is a experiment. It's an experiment. Each of us can experiment our own human life. When we experiment our human life, we will know that when we don't create a proper environment for the mind, then the mind degrades. The mind is going in all wrong directions, which we have witnessed, because all of us, we've been leading Pashujivanam for all these ages, yugas, and we have witnessed how the mind gets degraded so easily, right? If it is not getting what it wanted, then it gets degraded. Like if it wanted a laukika vastu and it's not getting, it gets degraded. So how do we escape from this degradation is to create a proper environment for the mind. That is why it is important, not only sattvic ahara, but also having satsang is very, very important. Having the satsang every day is extremely important. By having the satsang, your mind continuously, it keeps hearing about Paramapurusha. Slowly starts taking about Paramapurusha. Even if your mind goes somewhere else, it knows how to pull it back and focus on Paramapurusha, because it slowly starts realizing what the goal of life is, and it slowly starts realizing that these external objects, these things in this world, these laukika vastu, they are all temporary and transient. What seems so attractive today is no longer attractive, right? So you will get those experiences only when you start engaging in this life, yogic life, actively, right? Only then pashas, you get liberated from the pashas. A jiva who is pashabaddaha gets liberated from the pashas, he gets mukti from the pashas, he gets liberated from the gunas, and then he becomes muktaha. And when he becomes muktaha, then what happens is that he is Shiva. He is no longer a jiva, he is Shiva. So the same jiva which was considering itself as a jiva because of the bandhana is now no longer a jiva, but it is a Shiva. It is just got liberated from all of these pashas, this ashtapashas and shadripavaha. It gets liberated. Then what happens? Then it elevates to the status of Shiva, right? So a sadhaka, who is a sadhaka? A sadhaka is a person who is very intelligent. Sadhaka is very intelligent. Why is very intelligent? Because he constantly comes in touch with Paramapurusha, right? So one who is doing sadhana, he is a buddhiman. He is a buddhiman purusha. Because he is getting shakti from Paramapurusha. He is getting Paramapurusha's buddhi, right? But a person who is not doing sadhana, he is a buddhu, because he is wasting his time in this world. He is wasting the time in all these laukika vastu, right? In all these names and forms and everything, which is all transient, right? It is the thing. The reason why this mind is getting attracted to all these laukika vastu is because the mind is thinking that these are all permanent, right? Whatever relationship we have, whatever things we have, we are thinking that these are permanent. We are not seeing the reality. We are thinking these things are all permanent and we are getting attracted towards them. But the matter of the fact is that nothing is permanent. If you look at your own life from your early childhood, whatever things that you had loved, and that is no longer there, right? And something that you felt that you could never live without it, and that thing is no longer there, and you're still living. So we can in our own life, we can see there are so many things, relationships, everything which are transient, which was there before is no longer there, right? So what is the point of getting attachment to that kind of thing which is transient and temporary? Why can't we get attachment to something which is everlasting and permanent, right? And get liberated from these pashas, right? So that is the way that somebody becomes Paramapurusha, by doing sadhana. When one does sadhana, then they come in close contact with that Paramapurusha, and they get liberated from the Shadripavaha and Ashtapashas, from the bandhana of Prakriti. At that point in time, Prakriti cannot do anything, because Prakriti is subservient to Purusha. She is under the control of Purusha. So if we take the support of Paramapurusha, if we take the ashraya of Paramapurusha, if you think this Paramapurusha is the only support for me, if you think like that, then what happens is that this Prakriti is not able to do anything. At that point in time, she becomes a dasi. She becomes a dasi of Paramapurusha, because now we have the support of Paramapurusha. This Prakriti becomes a dasi of Paramapurusha, and she cannot do anything. At that point in time, movement from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock is very, very easy. So the message is that take the ashraya of Paramapurusha. He will help you, he will support you, he is always there. There is not a single second when he is not there, right? This whole universe is in his chitta, right? So we cannot say that Paramapurusha is not there with me, right? People feel helpless. They feel like, oh, Paramapurusha is not there with me, he is there with somebody else. Oh, why is he doing always this me? Why is that only I am suffering? Why is that, somebody else is having this, I'm not having this? Why is that somebody else is happy and peaceful? Why I'm not happy and peaceful? No, it's not like that. He knows when to give, what to give, right? He knows what is good for you. So there is no need to question his, question him saying that he's partial. No, he's not partial. He knows what to give you, when to give you, right? So whatever he gives, you should take that as prasada. You should take that as prasada. It is his wish, right? Then life becomes very, very beautiful, right? Life becomes beautiful. You're just going on in this path of bliss, this path of bliss, and then your life becomes beautiful and is full of happiness, right? You get ananda, because Paramapurusha is ananda. Paramapurusha is ananda swarupa. When you come in contact with that ananda swarupa, what do you get? Ananda, nothing but ananda. So then life becomes very, very beautiful. Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk today. So now let us actually go to the Karapatra that we have been talking about so far. Okay, so we've been talking about Paramapurusha and the Vishwa and the human being, right? We have Paramapurusha, we have this universe, and we have this human being. Like, what is the relationship between the three? So in this chapter, this is what we have been talking about, what connects them all, right? And we also talked about that human beings are very unique in that they are the doers of their actions, right? They are responsible for their actions, whereas the other beings are not the doers of their actions. They not only do what they do, they cannot be blamed or praised for what they do, right? But human beings are the doers of their actions. They are the responsible party ultimately, which is the entity that is responsible for the actions. It is the I feeling, right? The Mahat Tattva, that is what inspires the Aham Tattva to work. So that I feeling, Aham Tattva, is the entity which inspires the doer I, the Aham Tattva, to do what it does, right? So we said that any time when a human being does an action, there is a reaction to that action, right? Every action, whether it is physical or mental, there is a reaction to that action. And we said that how this is like this process is very similar to a rubber ball, where the doer of the action depresses the rubber ball with their finger, and then the rubber ball pushes back to take the original form. So that is the action and reaction process. And these actions may have reactions which don't occur right away, right? So those reactions which have not yet occurred are called the reactions in potential form, right? They are known as the sanskara. They are known as the karmapala, right? So sanskara may be understood differently in different different parts of India traditionally, but sanskara over here is the reactions in potential form, right? That way which we have not experienced so far. So it must be understood properly. It is the abhukta pratikriya of an action which is abhukta. Abhukta means which is not experienced. Abhukta pratikriya, potential actions to previously performed, potential reactions to previously performed actions, right? Any action that we have done knowingly, mentally or physically, so those actions have a reaction which will have to be expressed. They will be expressed either during this life or next life or the life after. So whenever it is determined by Prakriti, when it is appropriate for that reaction to get expressed, right? So if those reactions, those sanskaras don't get expressed in this life, then they will get expressed in the future life, right? That is when you have the rebirth, is when you have these sanskaras, when you have these reactions in potential form, right? So these reactions can be good or bad, all of them will have to be expressed, right? And the person who has done the action has to experience the reaction, right? I cannot experience the reaction of the action that somebody else has done. I have to experience the reaction of the action which I have done, whether it is good or bad, right? So so every action is an independent action, right? Every action is an independent action, and that action will have a reaction which we have to bear, and the mechanism which Prakriti does to bring back the mind to the original form and shape, right? So when we do an action, the mind gets depressed, right? And and there is a potential reaction that has to happen so that the mind takes the original shape and form, right? So that is what this karma pala is. This concept of karma pala is whatever karma you do, for that you have a pala that you have to experience, good or bad, in this life or next life or the life after, right? But the thing is, what we have to understand is that the original action, whether it is physical or mental, right, will have an equal and opposite reaction which may express itself now or later on, right? So that is what we talked about in the prior class. So right, so no one can exist without doing some action, right? So now somebody cannot say that some people who take sannyasa and say I won't do any action. Even those people are doing actions, right? Nobody can sit even for 1 second without performing an action, right? Even though the body is not doing any action, right? Like for instance, a sannyasi, if he's saying or a so-called sannyasi, he decides to leave the world and go to Himalayas, maybe his physical body is not doing any action, he's just sitting in Padmasana, but his mind is maybe his mind is active and going here and there and thinking all sorts of things, right? Those are all actions, right? So the mind, even without the physical action, engages itself in action by thinking or imagining, right? So even 1 second we cannot be without doing an action, mental action or physical action. So mentally he might be thinking about he might be thinking about something which may create a karma pala which is good or bad, right? So he may be thinking harm for somebody else, or he may be thinking something good for others, whatever it may be, right? So it's not only the physical action but also mental action. And the physical action is performed with the indriyas and the mind, right? And the mental actions are purely performed by the mind, right? So all actions can be physical or mental, right? So so whether it is a mental action or a physical action, it will cause a distortion to the mind, and a karma pala, a reaction, abhukta pratikriya, is the way in which the mind comes to the normal state. So for every action, mental or physical, there is a karma pala, and that will have to be experienced by that particular mind, right? So he is the doer of the action, the Mahatattva is the doer of the action, and that has to experience the karma pala. So now I actually go on to the following paragraph. Let me share my screen. Bhagini, do you want to take it?
I'll take it. Before that, I have one doubt also. What you have been telling me. See, now, some actions are performed, I mean, in the Manushya Jivan, and there is a reaction, either in this life or in the next life. So, if the next life is not, it need not necessarily be a human being, no?
Mm-hmm.
It can be something. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do that action, that reaction occurs in that jivana. Say, if it is a pashu jivanam, it has some life. If it is a, will it have another jivanam as other than pashu, like some cruder jivanam? and that in that case the reaction will not take place immediately, isn't it? Whether
Yes.
good or bad.
Yes.
Okay. When will this happen? Again when they take the human form, or some Pashu Jeevanam?
No, in Pashu Jeevanam, that entity is operating according to Prakriti's design, right? So that in Pashu Jeevanam, they will not be experiencing the karma pala. They're just operating according to the Prakriti's design. So when they get the human life again, they will experience the karma pala, right? So that is why if you do a bad action or a good action today, when you will get the karma pala, nobody can tell. It may be in this life, or it can be after several lives. We don't know. Right? If the next life, as you're saying, is not a human life, it is some other life, like a plant life or an animal life, then you may not experience the karma pala, and you'll have to wait until you struggle and you come forward to the human life, and then at that point in time you may experience the karma pala. So Prakriti decides when you will experience the karma pala, when it is the appropriate time for you to experience the karma pala, right? So in Pashu Jivana you may not experience the karma pala, so you'll have to wait until you get the human life, which will be many years or many millions of years. We don't know.
We don't know. Okay.
We don't know. Yeah.
So everything is only for the Manushya Jeevan, actually.
For the Manushya Jeevan only, because Manushya Jeevan is the only one who is doing action knowingly, right? A Pashu or a plant or whatever it is, they are just doing according to the design of Prakriti. They are not doing knowingly, right? They are not the doers of their actions. They are not thinking that, if a monkey takes an apple, we will not call it as stealing. So the monkey will not get papa by taking an apple from your house, right?
Yes.
It is just operating according to the design of Prakriti. It is not doing any papa or punya. So therefore it is not getting any reaction. But then when it takes the human life, then it will get the reaction.
Okay. But this one they say, no, that you do like this, you will be born as some Pashu, and you will, suffer in that. Will the karma phala be nullified in that? And my question is that. They say no.
No. Yeah, what you're saying is correct. In Pashu Jeevanam, there is a lot of struggle, right? If you look at the Pashus outside, they have a lot of struggle, even for the basic food and whatever that they need, right? Food, water, whatever they need for survival, they have to struggle a lot. They don't know whether they're going to get the next meal or not, right? Not every animal gets the luxury of food, right? Like there are so many ants and insects and so many things that are there outside. Their life is like so miserable, right? They have to struggle a lot. To get even basic things. So they go through that struggle, and slowly they evolve and they graduate to the next level, and slowly finally they get the human life. And at that point in time, when they start doing actions, then that is when they start getting the karma pala of the past actions as well.
Oh, not see, this is not argument at all, just a doubt only for whatever you say. See, they will say no, இந்த ஜன்மத்துல நீங்க ரொம்ப கஷ்டப்படுத்துறீங்க, அடுத்த ஜன்மத்துல நீங்க இதுவா ஒரு டாகா பிறந்து அலைவீங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க இல்லையா? அப்ப
that is there yeah, that is
when we get
talk in English itself.
Okay, sorry. Okay, that time they say no, you will suffer like this and then you will go, or eventually they will tell no. அப்ப then will our karmas be nullified in that? See, we have done some miserable action this one, and we have cursed us to go like this, like a snake or a dog or something like that. Will that reaction be nullified in that? Karma be nullified in that? No.
Karma will not be nullified in that Jeevanam, because what happens is that what you're actually doing in this life, by behaving worse than an animal, you have degraded your mind so much. Because you have degraded your mind so much to such an extent, what happens is that when you die, that is the mind that you die with, right? That mind, now the mind is a bodiless mind. When you die, the mind doesn't die, the mind still stays. The mind is a bodiless mind, and that mind has degraded to such an extent that when it gets the rebirth, it is not appropriate for human body. That mind is not appropriate for human, right? Therefore it cannot get the human body, because the mind is not an appropriate level. It has degraded to such an extent. Then such a degraded mind can only get a pashu jivanam or an insect or whatever, right? So there is no experiencing karma pala. The reason you're getting the animal life is because your mind has been degraded to such an extent.
Okay. Right.
Okay. So getting the karma pala is then you go through that animal life, and then again you're born as human being. Then that is when you get the experience the karma pala.
Yes.
So none of your karma pala will be reduced by taking the birth of a pashu or something.
Right. So again, the karma pala will be experienced in Manishya Jivan.
Yeah, in Manishya Jivan, you have to take the human life again. That is why they say that, they say that this human life has been obtained after great difficulty, after great struggle. So we should not lose this human life, because if we lose this human life, we don't know when we'll get the human life again.
Okay.
Next life, we don't know what our life is, right? We don't know what our life is. So that is why in this life we have to aim for atma moksha, atmanaha mokshartam, jagat hitaya cha, jagatah hitam, jagat hitaya cha. Is very important. That is the only way for elevation. That is when your mind will get elevated, right? Atma moksha and jagat hit. When you keep doing seva is very, very important. Even small things that you do, like for instance, if you're just collecting some grains from your house and keeping it for the bird, right? That is also seva. Like that, when you keep doing seva for some other entity in this universe, your mind elevates. That is when Paramapurusha, he himself comes to help you, right? So only a sadhaka can do this true kind of seva, right? Otherwise everybody else will do seva with selfish motive, right? Even if you're giving grains to somebody, or somebody will be thinking that, oh, I'm giving this, oh, let God give me something else. That is what people will be thinking. But only a true sadhaka who is engaged in this path of atma moksha and jagat hit, he's the only one who will be thinking about doing seva just for the sake of doing seva, because he wants to please Paramapurusha. That is only his goal, right? So that is how the mind gets elevated. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. Now I understand.
Okay. So
fully reflected consciousness. From there I missed.
Yeah.
Fully reflected consciousness in human beings make them realize their subjugation under the bondage of Prakriti. They do not want to continue in this position of slavery, and hence work independently against Prakriti, who in turn keeps on inflicting punishment on them in the form of reactions to their actions. On this earth, human beings alone have fully reflected consciousness, and so no living beings except human beings can work independently. The laws of Prakriti punish only actions performed independently or against their wishes. Those incapable of independent action will hence not receive any punishment at their hands. It will thus be seen that except human beings, no living beings experience karma phala for their action. So what, I didn't read this paragraph, I just asked you a question. I think I got an answer for my question in this paragraph.
Good,
isn't it?
Yeah.
I just thought about it. I mean, what you said to the before we started the paragraph, whatever introduction you gave, no? So that was reflecting in my mind to give a question like this. The answer has been explained beautifully in this paragraph itself.
Yeah.
So it is only the human beings. So my doubt also got cleared actually.
Okay.
So what you said.
Yeah. You want to explain this paragraph?
No, now see, we got the explanation. Actually, that's what. So human beings are only the persons, I mean this one of Prakriti doing actions, and it might be good or bad, and the Prakriti in turn gives the, either punishes or gives a good this one reaction to the human beings only. No other living beings have uh, this karma phala, because they don't do any action. That's what
Yeah.
So
Correct. Yes, nicely
because
said.
of the consciousness reflected in the human being.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that is right. So the human beings will always have to experience the actions for their they have to experience the reactions for their actions, because they are the doers of their actions, right? Those who are animals and plants, they are not the doers of their actions, right? Therefore they do not experience the results of those actions. So like, the tiger kills a deer, or a monkey steals, right? Or a monkey actually takes bananas from the rooftop, right? They are not consciously doing anything, right, either for the benefit of someone else or for the harm of someone else. They're simply doing it because of their inborn instincts. That is all. So not being the doer of their actions, nobody can blame them or praise them, right? So nobody can actually blame them nor praise them. Those animals are incapable of doing any seva. They are neither capable of doing paropakara nor doing parapakara, right? They cannot help others nor harm others, right? If they are trained to do something, then it is a different thing, right? Somebody who is blind and has a dog which is seeing, and is doing all kinds of things, right? So even to save the life of that human being, if that blind person is trying to cross the street, and the dog may do all kinds of things, right? There is no doubt, but that is because the dog has been trained to do it, and not out of sense of selfless service. So because if the dog would not be trained, right, then it cannot do these things, right? A dog which has not been trained will not be able to do all of these things. Only a dog which has been trained can do all these amazing things. That is what they have just been trained to do, right? If they did not get the training, then no dog on this planet would be able to do that. So they are not the doers of their actions. They do what they are trained to do, either by their inborn instincts or by human training. And because of that, they do not get the positive or negative karma phala, right? Nothing like that happens. The human beings are the doers of their actions, and that creates the dramatic difference. It is because of this as well that only human beings are able to go from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. So that special privilege of going from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock is only for the human beings, because they are the ones with more responsibility, right? They are more responsibility because they have control of the action, right? They have to be responsible when they have the control of the action, right? What they are doing. If they're doing bad things, then they have to experience the punishment for that. If they're doing good things, it will help them in going from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, right? So every living being has to ultimately go via human beings. Nobody can get to 12 o'clock without coming through human beings, because they are unable to do good actions that are required to go forward, right? Animals cannot do sadhana, they cannot do jagat hit, right? So only human beings can do atma moksha and jagat hit, only human beings, not the animals, right? So this is what this paragraph is talking about. So let's go to the next paragraph, Bhagini.
Yeah. Okay. Karma phala has to be experienced for every action, whether a good deed or evil or an evil one. Human beings cannot exist without action even for a moment, and so they keep on working right up to the moment of their death. This spares no one from experiencing the reactions after death. Only those who work will experience the reactions. No karma phala. No one else can be substituted to experience them. How will a dead person whose physical body has been buried or burnt be able to experience the reactions karma phala? This is what the following paragraph explains. So, Bhagini, that is, it is actually the this is another answer to my question. Like karma phala is to be experienced only by the human beings, because they are the only doers of the actions, and they do some action or the other, whether it is a good one or an evil one, till the death. So they keep on working. Actually, the human beings only keep on working till the moment of the death. So because of this, they have to experience the reactions after death only. Only those who work will experience the reactions. No other will experience the same, actually. So it is very clearly seen that only human beings are the doers of action, and they experience the karma phala, and how it is done even after that, how they have to experience their karma phala after that will be told in the later paragraph. You just explain, and after that we will continue in the next class again.
Okay. So yeah, that is what this paragraph is talking about. So here we are seeing is that every action will have a reaction, and nobody can escape that. We know that. So the point is that we are going to go on accumulating potential reactions to those actions up to the time of death, right? So it never stops. But nobody should think that if they can get to the time of death without getting that, they will be saved, right? So if somebody may be thinking that whatever actions they do, and if they die, then the reactions also will go away. It's not like that. Nobody should think that they can escape those reactions, right? So let's say that there's a person who killed in this life, and for some reason he never got caught by the cops and never experienced the punishment. And if he thinks that he killed and he escaped, and he will never get the reaction for that he is wrong. He will get the reaction for that in next life if he didn't get it in this life. So whatever action you do, you will have to experience the reaction, right? That is what this paragraph is talking about. So this spares no one from experiencing reactions after death. It is not the case that they got up to the point of death and they did not have to experience those reactions, and that they're going to escape from those reactions. It's not like that. Nobody can escape from those things. That is the main point. Only everybody will continue to work after death. When they get a new body, they will continue to work, and they will continue to experience these reactions. So if up to the time of death, if you do not experience the karma phala, then it is not that your family is going to experience those things. No, if you did a good thing or a bad thing, it's not that your family is going to experience those karma phalas. You are going to experience those things. The fact that you died is no excuse, right? You're going to have to experience those things in the next life, and your family cannot experience on your behalf, or your friend cannot experience on your behalf. So it doesn't matter whether you're burnt or you're buried after death. It doesn't matter whether you're burnt or buried. You will have to experience the karma phala in the next life. Everybody have to experience the good or bad karma phala. That is what this paragraph is talking about. Okay. Okay. So you said you wanted to end the session over here. Do you have any other questions?
No. What raised in mind, this one has come. Sometimes, when I thinking before the next session, what was told, or see some certain things what you are telling, will be thought about when we are doing some action. Actually, I am doing some action. So what I will do is, that time if I get a question, I put it in my mind and keep usually. And that only I think, okay, I have done this. Sometimes I will get an answer to myself. Okay. See, this I will like to share my experience also. See, we get, all the years of working, 37 years I've been working. See, we have met different people. So the responsibility was more in the career life as well as what is our family life also. So those days at the age of before the age of at the age of 25 to 28 itself, the children used to get married and they will have a life after that. But these days, parents mostly, their parental this one is still getting extended. Even after 30 years, 35. Now my son itself is 33 years. Still, we are taking care of them, and also we have to guide them. They don't seem to understand. See, we had one maturity at that age of 28 or 29, but by 30, 35, we have children and we are shouldering different responsibilities. But these days, children, they don't go for that. They still are yet to mature. To bring them to this one, we cannot use the same reaction as some 10 years back. We now have to change our reaction, to deal with them. That time, whatever we have learned in the class and all helps me to remain calm instead of getting agitated. Okay. Whatever we have agitated, even in our office life or whatever it is, dealing with people now, we get calmer. Think twice before reacting to something. So
that is very good.
Why it is so? When it is so, whatever you have told us, whatever you have told me, that comes into play actually.
Very good.
So that time we are slowly. You are telling no. See, our ahara should change. Everything should change. Not dependent on the family matter. But that also no. It needs some time because we were in this jivanam for a long time. See, for example, you are telling you have to do some sadhana. So that sadhana also requires some, I'm telling you practically only. Something, see, I like to do some craft work or something like that, you think. But when I sit and start doing something, my husband has no interest in all these things. He will come, what we are sitting and doing something. I am feeling bored, he will come and he will disturb my work also. So, doing some work is also a sadhana. So, we keep maximum only thinking, what should I do for him, what should I do for my son only. So, in spite of all this, training myself to finish their work within a limited time and then go back to my work, it takes some time. So, that is how that family chakra takes time. Now, if my son had already been settled, like leave the work wise, married and settled, and someone is taking care of him, I will be having more time. You understand? That's the reason why we are not able to do. In that, we should try to do everything good. And if you are going to do something bad, we are going to experience that also. So that we are doing also experiencing. So I'll think of all the lessons you have given, and then I will pass. Certain things I'll pacify myself. Certain things I will have doubts. I ask.
Sure, Bhagini. It's a good point. So that is what I covered last week also, that the thought of settling the family and then starting sadhana or starting about Bhagavad Chintana is not the right approach. The Bhagavad Chintana should be happening, right? So sometimes if you have the opportunity from childhood itself, is the best time to think about Paramatma, think about Paramapurusha, start doing sadhana, right? But if we did not get that opportunity for whatever reason, and we have gotten the opportunity now, we should not lose the opportunity by giving a reason that I have to take care of my son, I have to take care of my family and all that. That is all there. That is all responsibility you have to do. But in spite of all of that, you have to make arrangements in such a way that you have the time, at least 15-20 minutes to do sadhanas, half an hour to do asanas. Those things we have to manage. Those are our nitya kriya.
Right? That's what I'm telling you. So morning 1 hour, these people, I don't have any disturbance. So morning I don't what to say, get up late and other things. The same 4:30, and before Brahma Muhurtam I have to do my work. I mean of cleaning the house and all. I do everything. Light one lamp, and I do yoga from 7 to 8, and only I start. So that gives me this one. But after that, no, once these people are into their actions, no, we are not, again only in the afternoon I'll have some time to think. So when I sit and then I'm writing my Sri Ram Jayam or something like that, or doing something, I will just think, okay, what was taught, and I have to decide something, no. I will sit, think. I should not even now if my son shouts, no, this cannot be done like this, I will not immediately react. That I have learned. I'll wait. Then when an opportunity comes and I can explain to him, no, I just say, no, this cannot be done. That's all. I will not shout and work. Afterwards I will explain to him, okay, this is what I have decided. So you decide. I will tell him. You just think like that. I'll tell him.
Okay.
So the action I can take later on. I do like that. I don't immediately react, what to say, agitating and all. So that I'm bringing them slowly. And food also, I'm bringing them both. No, this only I will do. You have
Bhagini, I have a question. So all this is getting recorded. Are you okay?
Yes, that's what I'm telling you.
It is all getting recorded. Others also will be listening. It's fine, right?
Oh, who else will be there?
This recording is getting posted online. A lot of people listen.
Okay. See, that is how the what you teach, I'm experiencing. No, so this is my experience. That's all.
Okay.
You need not ask separately. That's all.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Bhagini. Thank you so much. That is the reason I told you, to talk in English, because a lot of people listen to it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Bhagini. Namaskaraha. Dhanyawadaha.